Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we are going to be talking about the video that Hungry Fat Chick uploaded on her channel with Nikocado. You know, the Nikocado that has tricked the entire internet. If you are not familiar with what I'm talking about, definitely watch the last video uploaded about this, because if you haven't seen that, you're going to be very confused. But TLDR, Nick lost 250 pounds and didn't show his face for basically 2 years, pre-recorded a ton of videos, and he came out and he had lost a lot of weight. So they actually recently filmed this video, which is titled 52nd Birthday Feast with Nikocado Avocado, Outback Steakhouse Mukbang. And as you can see, Nick is right here and Candy is right here. Now, obviously, this video is about an hour long, and so we are not going to be watching the entire thing, but me and my producer, Rachel, put together a smash cut of the things that are kind of interesting in the video, which is going to be a lot shorter, that we're going to talk about. But before we get into that, I just want to say, as someone that is also a YouTuber and sees this relationship, I think it is, I have respect for Nick doing this first video with Candy, because one thing that I have learned about Candy over time, and just seeing the videos that she's been making, you know, something that she has been talking about is just views haven't been that good, and she's been struggling with that. And I genuinely thought it was cool that he did this video with her. I know people are going to be upset with me because some people just genuinely don't like Candy. They think she shouldn't be doing these mukbangs. But the fact that he went to her place and recorded this with her, knowing that this is going to be, huge for her channel, and it has been, it's been up for a day and it has, close to 200,000 views. That's really big. And so before we get into any of that, I just want to say, props for doing that. I do think that it was a genuinely good thing to do, and I'm sure Candy appreciates it as well. And I just want to say, with whatever criticism I might have or whatever I'm saying, I do see that, and I see the fact that he did that, and I have to show off my props, because as someone that genuinely thinks Candy is a good person and I want to see her do well, seeing this video do well for her, I can't help but feel happy for her. With all of that being said, let's get into the video. I think it's about a little over 8 minutes of what we kind of smashed together, and so there's some random cuts here and there, but it's the stuff that is said that I feel like is important to the things that I want to talk about. So let's go ahead and play.
Hey y'all, today I'm having Outback Steakhouse, and I have a surprise for you guys. Oh my gosh, guess who's here?
Hi!
Nikocado Avocado has come to visit me for my birthday this month.
Hi.
Oh my gosh. Other than being older and my
So one thing I do want to say is that I think some people, I was actually talking about this on my live stream. If you don't know, I stream on Twitch pretty frequently, if you want to go check that out. But I was talking about that, and some of the people in chat were saying maybe they had actually filmed this a few months ago, because it seems that Candy is, looking better or sounding better, and maybe they filmed this a few months ago and then they uploaded it. I just don't think that happened. I think Candy, put on some makeup, and I think that Nick definitely helps with getting good camera angles, getting good lighting, just kind of helping with that. But I think it also speaks to when people are genuinely having a good time, and I think Candy has a good time with Nick. I think it just lifts your spirits, right? And so I don't think that this was pre-recorded or anything like that. I think this was literally probably recorded yesterday, their day before, and then uploaded pretty much right away. So I don't think there was any trickery there. I understand that a lot of people are skeptical because they're kind of going back and forth, I don't think Nick actually lost the weight or whatever. I think that there was a lot of masterminding that Nick did in that original video, of course. But I think some people are attributing a little bit too much to it, and I think what we saw for the most part is relatively true as far as the weight loss and the weight gain, all that stuff, right? But yeah, there's definitely, I think that some people are trying to make this a bigger web than it needs to be, right? They're trying to stretch this red string and make it this huge crazy thing, when what the reality is already crazy enough, in my opinion, right?
my body trying to give out on me all the time. My bones hurting. It's just life,
Wait, am I 31 or 32? I don't even know how old I am, but I already start to feel aches and pains, and I'm 30.
It catches up with you really quick, I tell you.
Totally.
Because 30-something me, when I first got on the internet and started all my nonsense, I was like 375 pounds, and then I could sit on the floor, I could I could do a lot. You know, I could walk around Walmart like 2 or 3 times.
Drink some butter.
It's crazy how, like, hearing her say that, right? Because it's one of those things that so many people talk about. You don't know when you're in the good old days when you're in them, right? And so, like, Candy, I'm sure at the time was like, man, I wish I wasn't as big as I am now. And it just goes to show you that regardless of where you are, things can always get worse. So, like, you should really appreciate kind of where you are in the moment. It's just interesting kind of hearing her talk about that and say it in that way, right?
Oh, I'm gonna get that.
I love watching you eat ribs.
So I think what he said there was, I love watching you eat ribs. And like, that's like the difference between, I guess, people that enjoy mukbang videos and people that don't. I think Nick genuinely probably does enjoy this type of content because it seems like this is what he's kind of going back to. I thought maybe he would come back and kind of change things and do something else, but it seems like this is what he wants to do is mukbang stuff. And maybe he just genuinely does enjoy it. But yeah, for me, watching people eat is not entertainment for me.
Oh, Candy. Oh, Candy. They are. I have a little tidbit, and I'm already. I can't even speak.
Super delicious. Why am I so short?
You want me to bring this closer?
Well, you've got such long legs, though.
Oh no, I put it out because you asked me. I don't know. I'm so
Just
sorry.
a little bit. Yeah, it's good.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good. It's like I've got the giant belly that like makes it difficult.
I am so sorry.
It's funny because I've been in both of these positions, right? So I've been Candy and made fun of myself next to someone that maybe wasn't comfortable joining in. And it like, that's kind of what I got from that was he was like, I don't really want to join in and say anything. So I'll just kind of like laugh. And then I've also been in the position where someone's making fun of themselves. And obviously I especially if I don't know them that well, I'm like, I don't want to join in on this because I'm just not comfortable with it. And so I thought that was a funny part of the video for sure. Her kind of making fun of himself and him just being like, yeah, okay.
Belly. I should just cut some more so I can pick
good?
it up.
Are you
I'm
good?
as good as I'm gonna get.
I can move it closer if you'd like. My legs are totally
It's not
fine.
gonna get closer.
Okay. Oh, you mean
That's the end of the line.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Oh goodness.
Painful.
I started wearing a lot of bibs.
Yeah. That's my problem a lot of times is just it's like I can't lean over far enough.
How many steaks can you eat in a sitting?
One.
I've had
Typically.
I've had 4.
Wow.
I have these 18-ounce.
Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That's a lot. Well, you have a big appetite though.
I've always had a huge appetite.
Mm-hmm.
Always. As a child, all the diets I did over the years.
Now when I was a teenager,
Yeah, and so that's an interesting part of the video as well, because I think that I'm curious. Obviously, one of the biggest questions that so many people have is like how Nick lost the weight. And I don't know too much about, where he was before he started YouTube. I don't know much about his life before he started YouTube. I don't know how much he struggled with his weight going up and down. But there's obviously plenty of comments when people see Nick and Candy, right? People are saying Candy should just do what Nick did, right? And I think that I understand the sentiment there, obviously, especially if people like Candy, they want to see her succeed and do well and live a long and healthy life, right? That's how I feel. And obviously, I hope that she loses the weight and is able to keep it off, right? And I know that she has expressed interest in taking like a GLP-1, Ozempic type medication. In the last video, we talked about her in. And I am not against that idea. I think that could be a great idea, especially if Nick took a GLP-1, which we don't know. He is still continuing to eat these different foods, right? But you'll see later in the video, he kind of talks about how like, woof, man, that was a lot of food, right? Which is not the most normal thing, I think, for him to say, which is obviously clear, right? The guy's lost a lot of weight. And so I think it's unfair to compare the two, especially if we are to believe Nick in the whole mastermind, 2 steps ahead, I planned this whole thing out. So if we were to believe, and I'm not saying this is true, but I'm just saying, say we believed everything was a facade And it was all meant to get to this point where he disappeared and lost all this weight miraculously, right? So if we were to believe that he came onto YouTube, you know, as a vegan, again, there are people that are saying maybe he wasn't even vegan, or like he decided to be vegan for YouTube, and then he like left veganism again to garner this crazy amount of people talking about it, right? But whatever, right? So say he was vegan and he decided, okay, I am going to gain weight. That is the plan, and I'm going to eat all of this food on camera, and I'm going to be ridiculous. I'm going to make this Nikocado Avocado a personality, like WWE-esque type of thing. And he ends up gaining the weight, the whole time planning on losing the weight after a certain amount, right? As he hits 30, a lot of people have talked about, right? He's always said, once I hit 30, I'll lose the weight. And so if that was the plan, that is a very different mindset that someone has than someone that has genuinely struggled with their weight their entire life, and they have and I'm not saying Nick hasn't genuinely struggled with it, but I'm just saying, right, if we were to compare apples to oranges, right, Candy is someone that has genuinely struggled with her weight her entire life. And it is like, for me, when I tried to lose weight over the years, it felt like it was an impossible task. Like I could not do it. It was impossible. I had no agency over myself, was how I felt. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, when I had this click in my head, I think it was after I had lost maybe 30 pounds, but I started to believe I could do it. And like when I say that is powerful, I don't know how to explain that feeling of, holy crap, like I can do this. I can lose the weight. I can do these things that I felt like for the longest time I couldn't, right? And if we are to believe that Nick planned out this weight gain and then decided to lose the weight, you know, he's going to have in his mind, this is something I'm doing intentionally and I'm going to lose weight. That's not discrediting the fact that he lost the weight, you know, good on him, right? And that's going to be difficult. But I do believe genuinely there is a fundamental difference between someone that has struggled with their weight their entire life and has felt helpless against it versus someone who is doing some type of experiment, right? With Nick, it's obvious what he's done, but when we look at the people that do like the fit to fat to fit, that stuff, I've always been like, it's not the same, in my opinion, right? And so I feel comparing them it's just not entirely fair. But I mean, I hope that Candy is seeing Nick, what he's done, and that inspires her. Because that would be a good thing, right? I genuinely believe that. Okay, sorry for the rant, but
I had a really big appetite. I could go to a buffet and wipe out five big plates easy, no problem. Spaghetti night, I was getting thirds and fourths.
I've always said over the years that if you can improve your sleep, it changes your day. I used to try to find like the cheapest hotels and the cheapest deals for stuff, but often you're getting these lumpy old mattresses.
It's not worth it.
And at the time with Orlin, I would say to him like, oh, I really want a nicer place for a better bed. He's like, oh, it's a waste of money. I said, no. If you don't want to hear me beep and beep all day, curse word, you know, just kind of complaining.
Yeah, you want to
I
get
get good sleep.
Good
If I
night's
have good
sleep.
sleep, I wake up good in the day. Excuse me.
So the reason that I wanted to include that was because he does bring up Orlin, right? And there's been a lot of comments and people theorizing what is going on. Obviously, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they were still together, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they weren't. I don't know exactly the situation there. I think that that's another very interesting piece of the puzzle of how integral was Orlin to the whole transformation, to the whole mastermind thing. I don't really know. I wouldn't be surprised if, say, like Orlin, at the start they were obviously together, but then eventually maybe they were no longer like together like that, but they still worked together because they worked well and they were able to mastermind this whole thing. I don't really know, right? And so, but I did want to include that because there has been a lot of questions, people curious about where he's at, but he does mention him at least, and so that's about the most that I've seen so far about him mentioning it.
I interpret the day better, and then you're gonna like your day better because you don't have to listen to me complain. We're in a food coma.
Yes, we are.
Because we ate a lot of good food.
And now we're gonna have some sugar.
I'm like, So what happened was, which is the same
What
thing.
happened?
The same thing that happened in my last video on my channel, which was like cheesy noodles, where I'm like, oh, I'm good, and then I stand up, I go change the battery, get some water, I'm like, whoa, like, you're feeling it.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting. I'm curious, like, with Nick, what his plans are, right? Like, what his plans are for content, because if he wants to continue doing these mukbangs, like, I mean, the fact, like, he's obviously a very low weight, he's very, very lean, and trying to maintain that while doing these mukbangs frequently is going to be difficult, right? Regardless of if you're on a GLP-1 medication or not, it's not like those things automatically burn calories for you, right? And so I just don't know. Like, he clearly is saying it seems like eating these amounts of food is difficult for him, a lot more difficult than it was before, which obviously makes sense. And so, man, there's just so many questions that I wish I knew the answers to, but it's just, I'm not going to sit here and speculate because I just don't know, right? But I would love to know exactly kind of how he did things and what he did to lose the weight, especially, and more importantly to me, how he stayed hidden for so long.
So
This is a lot.
I'm kind of feeling it. I'm like, I ate half a stick of butter. I ate almost the entire 8-ounce. I'm gonna drop this.
Okay.
18-ounce rib.
Yeah, don't try. Okay.
I am feeling it from the food, and that's why I'm so giggly too. Ooh, go ahead.
It's okay.
Happy birthday. Was that a copyrighted thing? Can we sing happy birthday?
I don't know. That shouldn't be.
Someone might own it.
I wouldn't be
know.
surprised.
Yeah, you never know with these people.
Well, we're trying to get money, so let's not demonetize this video by singing happy birthday.
So see, like, that's why I really do feel like Nick knew going into this video it would be a good one for Candy, right? It would do well for her. And again, regardless of how you feel about them, I think that that's a nice thing to do. You know, especially for her birthday, I think it's a nice thing to do.
Okay.
One time I played Ave Maria on the violin, and it got copyrighted.
I got it.
Who owns the Ave Maria from Schubert? He's dead.
Shouldn't.
Someone owns it. They took all the funding, royalties, whatever.
Aw, and that always sucks when they do that.
I know.
Alrighty, well, happy birthday to me, and okay, to another year on another trip around the planet. I'm gonna make a wish.
Happy birthday, Candy.
Alrighty, and shot, yay! Okay.
All 5 in one blow.
I sure did.
That's probably good luck right
It was
there.
all my wheezing, and I still managed to blow some candles.
I don't hear your wheezing. But
Really?
I don't even hear it. I don't even hear it. I'm gonna have the smallest little morsel because I'm so
Okay.
food coma already.
Again, interesting,
Can
right?
I take my fork? I think.
Here, just grab that one.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind getting up.
Okay.
Excuse me.
You're getting your exercise.
I am.
Yes, you are. Oh, goodness.
Oh my gosh, I feel, and I kept saying like, oh, I've had 4, I don't know how I did that time, 4 steaks, but
I don't know.
I've had 4 steaks in a sitting one time, and
That is a lot of meat. You didn't get the meat sweats?
I probably did, I don't remember, it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was
I've had a couple of steaks, I
390
think.
pounds.
I think I've had like 2 pounds worth, like two steaks at one point. Yeah, grab you whatever you
Yeah, I can't eat that much steak, man. It does not sit well.
want. Really? Alright.
That's all I deserve for how I served this to her on her birthday.
Oh.
That's all I deserve.
I
The
asked
tiniest
you.
little thing, right?
You did. So.
All right.
It looks good.
It's on me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I love carrot cake, man. It's actually one of my favorite
Ooh.
cakes.
Mm.
I really like carrot cake a lot.
You love carrot.
I love carrot cake.
Same.
I feel so good. My feet are tingling. I'm like, ooh. Well, they're
I'm
not
happy.
They're tingling because actually the real reason I did a TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna put this out right away, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna edit it tonight.
Put it out tomorrow.
It's gonna be bonus. You know, I haven't been.
Bonus
I
week?
haven't.
So again, like, that's what makes me think, like, I don't think that this, like, I don't think there was some conspiracy that this was filmed months ago, right? Like, that, all that stuff. I don't know. I just
been
don't
doing
believe it was a
Wednesdays
conspiracy.
anyway, so
I've seen.
they're gonna get a. It's gonna be early, but it's going to be the...
You can't win because they get upset that you don't film on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then when you do film on Wednesdays, they say, oh, look at her. She just can't stop eating.
Exactly.
Well, wait a minute.
You can't
They
get her...
get mad when she doesn't post, but then she posts.
Well, they get mad because they can't complain, but they go to my community post. I usually post on the community when I'm not going to upload from Wednesday. I'm like, yep, it's been a day. I'll see y'all next time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. That's why I don't like to really have schedules, because I don't want people waiting on me and like expecting videos in certain times. That's why I've never been a huge fan of them.
Oh, so my ankles are throbbing because I did a TikTok where I was doing the little gritty thing. And it was fun, and you know, I feel energized, I feel good. Breathing, ooh, we love life, here we go. And then,
Yeah.
after doing so many rounds of it, I got in the car, I was driving back home, and
You start
I was
getting
like,
achy.
whoa, something's throbbing down there. And now I'm literally hobbling like a dog that got its paw ran over by a car. I'm just like hobbling. I was hobbling into the Outback Steakhouse today to get the food.
Well, I tell you, this evening, once you get back to your place, you are to, you know, get some really good rest.
I'm going to be extra hobbling,
Don't
food
work.
coma, and swollen ankles.
Don't work too hard.
So speaking about that TikTok, so that's the end of the video that we're going to be watching right there. But I did want to show you that TikTok that he's talking about. So this is the TikTok right here, and there is no music, so we can actually listen to what he's saying here.
2 steps ahead. I'm always 2 steps ahead.
Don't. I mean, he just does the gritty in a bunch of different places, right? Like he's like here, he's doing it here, he's doing it everywhere, you know? He's Mr. Gritty, I guess. But I wanted to, a couple things I wanted to talk about. So I do think, like, we kind of mentioned this in the last video, but like with like the loose skin, I think some people were like, oh, it doesn't look like he has any loose skin. Again, I think that if we look at where he held his weight, it was a lot in his stomach and then probably his chest a little bit, but mainly his stomach. I do think that there is a little bit of loose skin there. I think some people, I don't know, he might be wearing a compression shirt, but when he's jumping up and down, you can definitely, like if you're looking for it, you can see it, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, it's just to show that, you know, he is a human and he does have loose skin. But the other thing that I wanted to show you was just kind of this side by side. So this is obviously the video that we just watched, but if we look at this is the same couch, I'm almost positive, right? And just where they were. And I think even Candy has lost some weight from here. Maybe I'm just tripping out, but it looks like Candy has lost some weight too, which I do think is a good thing. But I think it's one of those things where I think a lot of people were like, oh, Nick is so healthy now. And I think that there's a lot more to health than just losing a ton of weight. And I think like with him doing the gritty and then obviously it being painful, I think it just shows you that like, sometimes people will think because you lost the weight that all of a sudden now everything is good and you're going to be completely healthy when, you know, there's more to it than that. And so again, I don't know exactly how he lost the weight, but I think one thing, just as someone that is seeing it from an outside observer and someone that cares about fitness and health, I think it would be beneficial for Nick to put some muscle on, especially if he doesn't want to gain the weight over time. I think adding muscle just gives you a lot more leeway when it comes to how many calories you can eat in a day, and you can fuel, you know, use those meals that you're eating and hopefully go to the gym and you know, lift some weights. I think lifting is incredibly important for anyone that loses weight that is trying to sustain that weight loss long term. You know, it's something that I talk a lot about when I am trying to help someone, whether they're a client of mine or not. I think lifting is something that is incredibly beneficial and hopefully something that he eventually does, or hopefully he's already doing. But yeah, so that was the video. Those were the things that I wanted to share with y'all that I thought was interesting, that I felt, you know, was worth me talking about. You know, I'm always happy to see Candy being happy. And again, with everything with Nick, that is so crazy. Obviously, I knew I was going to be talking about this, but I would love to know what y'all think down in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed the video, leaving a like really does help out a lot. It really helps, so I appreciate it. But thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Peace.